It's all pleated. I'm going to hold that up so you can see. I'm going to go ahead and sew up these ends that I had open when we put our hems in. I haven't sewn the hem in yet. And I'm using a double thread, and I'm going to stitch this closed. You could use an iron-on bonding tape in there. That would work fine. I'm just going to hand stitch that closed. I'm using a good John James needle, which is a long English sewing needle. They work great for hand sewing. And I'm using the Coats & Clark hand quilting thread for hand sewing. Take that pin out. I am using double thread at this point because this area gets a lot of wear. If it's a traversing panel, it's going to be open and closed a lot. This first pin would go right here in the overlap. So that's where all the abuse will be, opening and closing. So I want it to hold up nicely, so I'm using a double thread. I'll use a single thread when I sew in the side hem. We could have hand sewn the sides in before we pleated. It doesn't matter which order you do it in. Sometimes it's easier to hand sew when you leave it on the table after you've put the panel together instead of moving it from one place to another to another. When I'm hand sewing, I like to pull up a bar stool or a tall chair to the work table because you don't want to be standing up and bending over and hurting your back. Okay, I'll knot that off, trim it. So that's done. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to hand sew the side hem. And even though this is red and red, so I will need to use a red thread on that. I pulled out the beige by mistake. I'll use that when I tack the pleats. I'll lick that thread and thread the needle. This will be a single thread. Put in a knot at the bottom. And I'll start the side hem. I'm running right into that folded edge. And just catching the lining. I'm not catching the face fabric. I will be catching the face fabric, but you don't want to catch it in every stitch. I just unthreaded myself here. Let me poke that back in the needle. There we go. Again, going right into the lining and right into that edge. And continue on. It goes pretty fast. This is a tightly woven fabric, but this nice sharp needle's going in really well. I've just gotten to an area where I have a pin. That's a cue for me to make a little stitch to the front. So instead of taking a stitch to the front at every stitch, I'm only going to do it where there's a pin. And the pins are placed about 6 inches apart down the side hem. I'm going to take that out and show you on the front. If you can see right there where the needle came through, I don't even know if we can, there's the reflection of it. That's where the needle came through. That's a tiny little stitch. That's why you want to use a matching color thread. Don't pull it too tight, and then continue stitching. When we get to another pin, I'll take another little bite to the face exactly the same way. It's just one little stitch to the front, but that holds everything together. It keeps the lining from rolling out. Keeps everything nice and neat. So I'm just going right along into that folded edge. And it really becomes invisible. You don't see the stitches unless you pull this back. You can see the stitches. Hand sewn side hems are very durable, and I've been in business 20 years, never had a window treatment come back because the hand sewing came out. Alright, I'm at another pin, so it's time for me to, again, take a little stitch to the face. I can feel it coming through with my hand underneath, and then rock it right back up into the edge of that side hem and pull it through. So I'm going to continue hand sewing. When we come back, we'll tack the pleats.